What's up, Browns fans? Spencer German here with you. Anthony Moeglin on the home front as we get you ready for Browns and Dolphins here at Huntington Bank Field, which is calling for some very interesting weather. Right now, as I'm standing here, not raining. As I was walking in, it started drizzling a little bit, so it's coming. The wind is definitely howling. The flags are all over the place. So we'll see how this kind of changes here leading up to the game, but we appreciate you stopping by with us. A reminder to head on over and join our site if you have not done so already, roundtable.io/sports/NFL/Browns, where we can follow along with all the Cleveland Browns content you want, even throughout the game. We'll have a game thread going for you there. And be sure to subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already as well, where you can react in real time to everything that unfolds here today post-game. We obviously got these pregame hits. We got the weekly podcast and all those good things. So, Megs, we are going to get to our predictions, of course. But listen, this weather forecast is going to be an interesting one today, and it would be foolish for us not to think that it's likely going to play a role in how this one plays out, which I think is reflected in our score predictions that we obviously put out on the website. Yeah, no doubt. This is one of those games. I think back to there's been a couple of them that I can think back to that are the Eagles a few years ago, the Texans a few years ago, and some of those nasty weather games where you get them right by the lakefront. And like I'm 15 minutes west of downtown, and it's starting to get ugly over here, and the wind is whipping. That's more of the bigger issue for me. Is like rain you can kind of deal with, but like when that wind starts whipping, best of luck, because it's impossible to do just about anything. It's hard to throw the ball through the air. It's hard to kick it. Makes it really, really challenging. Yeah, no doubt about it. We'll see what it all kind of brings to the table. We know that this game is an important one from a number of different angles, but I think starting first and foremost, as we talked about throughout the week, for both these coaches, Mike McDaniel on the Dolphins side, Kevin Stefanski obviously on the Browns side, both these guys, I would say McDaniel probably on a hotter seat, but that conversation has very much started in recent weeks with Kevin Stefanski as well. I mean, listen, I don't know that I've fully wrapped my head around the fact that if I have, because it's the Browns and they could obviously lose this game. I've kind of come into this feeling like they have a good shot to win it though. And I don't know that I've fully embraced this idea that we could wake up tomorrow and be talking about, could Kevin Stefanski be fired? I don't think it's going to happen that quickly. I honestly think Jimmy Haslam wants to give these guys a shot. And I think he wants to, I think when he talks about not making emotional decisions, a lot of that comes from, well, hey, I'd rather wait till the end of the season to make those types of moves. So we'll see if that reality plays out. But certainly a big game for Stefanski today, because as I've said, if you lose to this Dolphins team, that seems like they're sort of further ahead in that conversation about hot seat talk and unraveling and the locker room sort of falling apart. What does that say about your team? I know Joe Bitonio and company sort of tried to give a united front and talk about how, they believe that they can turn it around and that they're still a good team and they're trying to stay positive, and that's all fine and good. But I think the actions on the field speak louder than the words at times, especially in this sport. And if you lose to this Dolphins team, I think it is a sign that things are starting to sort of deteriorate internally for Stefanski and company. Yeah, and when you look at your schedule, if there's a handful of games that you think you can win, today's one of them. And then you go to the Patriots next week. That's not a game you're going to be favored in. Then you're gonna likely you could beat the Jets, and then we'll see what the Ravens have coming out after that. But then you go Raiders, Niners, and it's okay, maybe not so much the Niners, but there's a couple games in this next month or so that you can get wins in, and today you kind of just have to win today. That should be the only. That sense of urgency should be high. I said that on our Friday show. The urgency should be through the roof. These guys should be playing with their hair on fire, because for this team, there's not many games that you have to win. Today's absolutely 100% one of those games. Yeah, I'm with you, man. Certainly a big one in that regard. We'll see what sort of happens on the field. The weather's going to be a factor. And because of the weather, by the way, Megs, this does kind of feel like it could be one of those games that's just survive and advance, right? The game plans might end up just getting tossed out the window completely. And it might just be find a way to win and get to tomorrow and sort of save your job, if you will. And then we can sort of reconcile the rest, which I know you wrote about this too. It's unfortunate because I don't know that we're going to get if the weather is what's being forecasted, I don't know if we're going to get a chance to really evaluate Dylan Gabriel after today. Yeah, today's going to be kind of a wash. No pun intended, but a wash for Dylan Gabriel, which sucks because, this is a guy who's trying to compete and show that he can do this with, and I thought this was interesting yesterday. Donovan McNabb was on maybe Kay Adams' show or maybe Good Morning Football. I forget the actual show, but just talking about,
yeah, Dylan's kind of in a tough spot. And we've known this, but like nationally, it's starting to get recognized that like a lot of people want Dylan to fail because they want to see Shedeur get a chance, and that part's tough. And today was going to be a game where he was going to get the opportunity to in front of the home fans for the first time to show what he can do, and you're going to get 60-mile-an-hour winds and wet footballs, man. It does. I feel bad for the kid, but it would be equally impressive if he goes out and shows that he can win a football game.
Well, his first home start, too, obviously, because they played the game in London. They were on the road last week. So you wish there'd be a better sort of circumstance there. But it's going to be what it's going to be. We'll see what it all looks like. Maybe the weather isn't as intense as being forecasted, and he can actually sling it around a little bit. We'll see how that all plays out. On the injury front, Megs, we know David Njoku is out for this game. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we've talked enough about that and the impact of that, because David's such an important part of what they do offensively, both in the passing game but also in the run game, because – especially with the struggles of this offensive line, the number of times they've had two tight ends in there with him and Fannin, or relied on him to be an extra blocker for them. That stuff matters in the run game as well. So no David Njoku. I think that is an important thing to note for this one. Sounds like, listen, the Browns didn't elevate anybody yesterday. There was no news of like elevations from the practice squad or anything like that. So that tells me that these guys that are questionable, Jack Conklin, Gage Larvidan, probably likely to play today. And so I guess that's good news that Conklin will be out there, and they must have cleared the concussion protocol. But obviously, the better if you have your starters along that offensive line, the better for this Browns team, because that unit's been a mess this year.
Yeah, been really bad. But yeah, you're going to miss David today. Not only is he, all of the things you said, but he's kind of that emotional leader that, hey, if they do get into a tight game today, and it's late coming down the fourth quarter, like you want a guy like David Njoku out there. It's not going to be the case for them today, which is a bummer. And, credit to him, he's been through the worst of it here in Cleveland. He's been through the best of it. And this probably falls closer to the former, because tough year for him, tough year for them. And he's still battling. Like even last week when he did take that knee injury, took that shot across the middle, he caught the football, kind of like ran it off, and then came back in later. And just dude does fight. No, you can say a lot of things about these guys, but Njoku's one that he gives it his all every time, every week. Yeah. And he's going to be missed today.
That's one of the biggest losses I think this team is going to have today in general. He's just so important to what they do offensively, and that can't be, understated. So tough one. We'll see if they can overcome it. Could be a big day. Harold Fannin's obviously been great already, but could mean an even bigger day for him, and that he's relied upon even more. So certainly in the cards there. Let's get to it. We're sort of adding an extra step to this. We're going to give you our predictions from the piece up on Roundtable, but we're also sort of adding a fun other exercise where we make a bolder prediction for the game, something that we think is going to happen in this game here on Sunday. Mags, I'll let you go first. What is your bold prediction for this game today?
All right, my bold prediction is not going to be a fun one. Not as fun as it could be, but a bold prediction today as the wind's whipping behind you, as it's whipping over where I'm at on the west side of town, as the flags behind you are going sideways. Andre Schmidt is going to be 100% today. We're going to hear it in my score. We're going to hear it in my score prediction, but I got Andre Schmidt being 100% today. He's not going to miss a kick, and it's going to be strong for him and for the Browns. And the Browns are going to get it done on the back of Andre Schmidt today. So that's what I got as my bold prediction.
All right, I got one for you as well. I'm going to say, given all we've talked about with this Dolphins run defense that's given up like 160 yards per game, the Browns, that being the thing that they're trying to, I guess, be their strength, even though they didn't necessarily rely upon it as much as they should have last week, I'm going to say that Kevin Stefanski leans into that run game today, uses the thing that's supposed to be the strength of the offense, and I'm going to predict that Quinshon Judkins' career day for him. 125 yards rushing, and he scores a touchdown today. And I think, and off of my score prediction, it's going to be the only touchdown that's scored today, but it's going to be a Quinshon Judkins touchdown. You know what? I'll even do you one better. He's going to score a touchdown on a 43-yard.
Oh, he said 43-yarder. All right.
There you go. 43-yarder for a touchdown, 125 yards on the ground.
Schmidt's hitting a 53-yarder for me today, and it's going to
53-yarder. He did do that this year. He did that last week.
Hey, as you said, he's going to draw it off the wind, and he loves kicking with the wind. So there we go. It's going to be fun.
All right, and that leads us to the final portion of our conversation here,
I got
which
a
is
fun one.
letting those who want to see our predictions in video form know what we're predicting for this week. Obviously, the weather, as we talked about, likely to be a factor. I think that's reflected in both our scores. Megs, what is your score prediction for Browns and Dolphins today?
I got a fun one today, baby. I got Browns 9, Dolphins 5. I dipped into the Spencer German. Chris Berman weird score bank, and I
You might as well.
grabbed a 9-5 win for the Browns. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be nasty, like you said. The Browns are going to lean on the run game. I don't have them getting in the end zone. I got 3 Schmitty field goals that the Browns offense is going to generate. One's going to be a 53-yarder, and then for the Dolphins, I think they're going to really struggle. They do run the ball pretty well. And Devon Achan, he's on my fantasy team. I should definitely have his name down. But I think he's going to have a decent day running the ball, but it's going to be really tough too, is really struggling. This team is, if Browns fans think that the vibes are bad in our locker room, like just take a look at South Beach because it's weird down there. And I do think they struggle to move the ball. They get a field goal, and then the Browns have a safety, or I don't know at what point in the game, but there will be a safety. So it's Browns 9, Dolphins 5. Browns get to 2-5 on the year.
Yeah, I think you alluded to it there, but the vibes around both these teams and the Dolphins, it's funny. Like both these teams probably come into this game thinking, "Hey, we should win this game," right? And so that's what's going to be sort of interesting as we talk about those dynamics with the coaches and all that. I too have a low scoring affair. I'm saying Browns 10, Dolphins 6. Dolphins kick a couple field goals. Browns get to 10. I talked about the one touchdown there from Quinshawn, and it's a low-scoring game in the elements. Browns come out on top. They stave off the hot seat talk for at least a little while longer, and they keep it moving to Week 8 against the Patriots next week. I do think, though, like this Dolphins team, their offense is better than I think they get some credit for, even without Tyreek Hill. And there was an interesting nugget that I was sort of told that I didn't necessarily, I watched some of their games back, but I didn't necessarily pick up on this. They are running a lot of 22 personnel. So like 2 backs, 2 tight ends since they lost Tyreek Hill, and how that's been an effective sort of tool for them. So that's an interesting wrinkle that I'm curious to see how the Browns defend, because last week against the Steelers, those multiple tight end looks that the Steelers kind of throw at you were a little bit of a problem for them. So we'll see what it all looks like. I think the Dolphins can certainly move the ball a little bit, but with the elements, I think both teams will struggle. And I think the Browns are able to eke one out. And I'm saying 10-6, Browns come out on top and quiet some of the noise on the outside of the building.
Yeah, no doubt. And the weather will play a factor, obviously, but I think it's going to benefit the Browns mostly because you talk about that little wrinkle, they're going to be mostly in that 22 personnel. That's what they've been majoring in. The advantage that they get in that, it puts the defense in big packages, heavy packages, and it gives Jalen Waddle like one-on-ones, which, if he can get matched up on Denzel Ward or Tyson Campbell, like you're like, all right, maybe advantage Waddle, but with the wind whipping the way it's going to be in the rain coming down, that's going to be huge for the Browns and allow them to really focus on stopping the run as opposed to worrying about Waddle getting off. Yeah. So, it definitely plays a little bit of a factor there.
And to be clear, you're saying it's an advantage for the Browns because of their style of play, but not that playing in the elements is really that much of an advantage. Because you're very Team Dome. We know that about you at this point.
Dude, this is going to be – I can't wait for this stadium to be like 30% full today. Like it's going to look like that Saints game, from years ago.
I will say the Muni lot looked a little empty this morning on the way in.
Yeah, well, it's just nasty. I mean, imagine looking out the big windows that are going to be there, and it's just rainy, gross, nasty, and you're in a t-shirt. You're like, yeah, baby, this is awesome. That'll be. I'm sure people in Cleveland will freaking hate that. That sounds horrible to me.
We could do 15 minutes on Megs just talking about how he's ready for the Dome to get here. Well, we're a ways away from that. In the meantime, the Browns play a game here behind me today against the Dolphins. We've previewed it for you. We gave you our predictions. Let us know yours at Spencito_ at 80Megs_10. You can also comment on this video in the comments section and let us know your thoughts as well at the Cleveland Browns Roundtable YouTube channel, where we encourage you to subscribe if you haven't done so already. And head on over to the website, roundtable.io/sports/NFL/Browns. Join our community. Join the site so that you can be involved in the conversation during the game, after the game, and see all of our premium stories and content as well throughout the weeks that lie ahead in the season. So thank you guys so much. We'll talk to you after the game as well, right here from the stadium. I'll be, and Megs will be back at home, and we'll recap whatever happens on the field behind us. So in the meantime, enjoy the game as best you can. Stay dry, and keep on following along with all things Cleveland Browns with the Cleveland Browns Roundtable.